Introduction to solving proportions. You know, solving proportions is one of my favorite things in math. A proportion is a comparison of two ratios. Now remember that a ratio is simply a fraction. We can write ratios three ways, but in our case we're going to compare two fractions. So when we have one ratio compared to another ratio with an equal sign, this is a proportion. Now, generally, there's multiple ways you can solve a proportion, but I think the most common, at least in my thoughts and words, in my world, is cross multiplying. So A times D equals B times C. So numerator of one ratio times the denominator of the other equals numerator of the one times the denominator of the other. That's the idea of cross products or cross multiplying. So let's do some basics. X over 4 equals 10 over 20. Now the idea of this is that each ratio has the same value. So if we would reduce both sides, they would reduce to the same fraction because they must be equal. But when we have a value of x, or I should say an unknown value of x, we have to do some work to find that value. So as we mentioned, we're going to use our cross products. So x times 20 is the same as 20x equals 4 times 10. Well, 4 times 10 is 40, so I have 20x equals 40. And now you're solving an equation. So how do I get x by itself? Well, I divide by the coefficient of x, which in this case is 20. So 20 divided by 20 is 1, so that gives me 1x equals 40 divided by 20 is 2. So this is the idea that 2/4 is the same as 10/20. And if you think about this, 2/4 is the same as 1/2. 10/20 is the same as 1/2. And that's the idea, that if we would reduce both sides, we would get the same fraction. That's why cross multiplying works. Okay, let's do one more. Y over 24 equals 3 over 4. Now, it doesn't matter which way you go first. So like in this last one, I did x times 20 first. I went this way. So let's go ahead and do this one first. 24 times 3 equals 4 times y. Well, 24 times 3 is 72. So 72 equals 4y. To get y by itself, I divide by the coefficient, which is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 1y equals 18. And it could be good practice to check that. 18 over 24 equals 3 over 4. Well, I know 3/4 doesn't reduce, but 18 and 24, those are both reducible by 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3, 24 divided by 6 is 4. So it does reduce to be the same fraction. And that is your introduction to solving proportions.